everyone. We're here from Benque Viejo del Carmen and Socots as well, here at Guadalupe Media. We're here to talk to you this morning about World Youth Day. Each of us have been to at least one World Youth Day in the past, and we're here to discuss World Youth Days of the past and also hopefully get people excited about this World Youth Day that's happening so close to us this time in 2019, almost in our backyard in Panama. So my name is Father John Robinson. I'm the pastor in Mount Carmel, at Mount Carmel, Our Lady of Mount Carmel Parish in Benque, and I have some parishioners with me today. So we'll start. I'll let each one of them introduce themselves. So we have here.
Hi, I'm Mindrick Tesukum, and I attended World Youth Day 2013 in Rio de Janeiro.
I'm Charlotte Jimenez. I'm from San Jose Socots. I attended World Youth Day 2016 in Europe? Poland.
My name is Mariani Penados. I live in San Jose Socots, and I attended World Youth Day in 2013 in Rio de Janeiro.
And good morning. I am Perlita Chablé. I'm a youth coordinator for St. Joseph Youth Group. As well, I help in organizing World Youth Days pilgrimages, and I've attended Germany, Madrid, Rio de Janeiro, Krakow in Poland, and at the moment we are planning to go to Panama. So sit tight and you'll learn more about World Youth Day and what you can do to be there.
Very good. Ms. Perla, I think you had some questions you were going to ask about the past World Youth Days, and allowed some of us to share our experiences of those World Youth Days.
Sure. We're going to be talking about our experiences, what all we have been through as we've been to the different World Youth Days. Each World Youth Day gives us different experiences, and we want to share it because it has brought a lot of joy to us, and we can't keep it within, so we're going to let it out and let you know more about it. So to begin, let us talk about what is World Youth Day. So, any of you would like to share with us what is World Youth Day? Do you know what World Youth Day?
I think World Youth Day is an event where people from all over the world, from all ages, come together and experience God's joy, God's word, like the love individuals have for one another, and how faith brings everybody together. And it doesn't really matter if you can talk that language or not. If you're like, they're older than you or younger than you, it doesn't really matter.
Okay. Good.
So it has been happening across the globe, worldwide, right? And as I've said, I've been to different World Youth Days, and from Europe, like how Charlene mentioned just now, from Europe, way to South America, way to North America, and guess guys, it is coming to Central America, Caribbean area, Panama. So we find now that it's in our backyard, and so we want to let you know what it is all about. So
it is for the first time it's in Central America, and it probably won't be for a long time to come.
No.
I think the first World Youth Day, if I'm not mistaken, was in the 80s. John Paul II was the one who decided to have these World Youth Days. Mm-hmm. And they would take place internationally, either every 2 or 3 years, it depended. Now I think they're more every 3 years. But, and so he started those, and yes, they were sort of geared toward the youth, and the youth of the world to come together and, like she was saying, to experience God's presence. Of course, the highlight is the Pope. He's there. It's not every day you get to see the Pope, and so for Catholic and even Christian youth to come together and experience the joy of our faith and to learn more about it as well. And so I don't know if anyone else had any other comments about what it is.
For me, World Youth Day, it is something that brings people together. It's something that you do not see every day, and most of the time we think that our young people are lost in maybe drugs and all those things, but when you have World Youth Day, it seems so much different, and it fills you up with hope that there are people that our young people still believe in Jesus, that we still want to fight for that good in the world. And it's really beautiful to have people come all over the world and see that we are truly a family under God. So it's a very beautiful experience.
Yeah, it's a Catholic, an international Catholic celebration that unites us as one church, all the young people. It's a very joyful event. And we also get to share our faith and faith-building mechanisms. It's an unforgettable event. This is something that you carry with you. So it's something to look forward to partaking in. It helps you grow spiritually. It helps you understand your faith more, what it is being a Catholic. You learn about things that we speak of in the church, but we don't not necessarily practice, but we get to learn how to better practice these faith-building techniques and tools to become better, not only Christians, but better humans, and how we can love and help each other become better servants of God.
As a leader, I have interviewed some youths who have attended World Youth Day, and one of them once told me, you know what, I have learned to love God in strange lands. What can you tell me about that?
Wow.
Have you felt that, loving God, and said, I didn't experience that love until I went to a strange land and I actually learned to love God in a strange land? What can you tell me about your experiences about loving God and living, these experiences?
I had a very unique experience before going to World Youth Day. At that time, I was trying to understand what love was. How do we define love? Is it just family love? What is love? And what does it mean that God loves us? And how do we know that we love God? What does it truly mean to love? And surprisingly, that experience opened my eyes to different ways of viewing love. Yes, being in a foreign country with strangers, and it's just 1 week of sharing with these people our personalities, we can say, our backgrounds, and it seemed as if we knew each other for many years. And by the time we wanted to leave Belo, what was it? No, it was Betim. By the time we wanted, the mass wasn't even over, and I found myself crying and sobbing and not understanding why I was crying. But it was because I was experiencing God's love. Through these people, He showed us how love is universal, how He cares for us, and it doesn't matter where we go, He will always be with us. So that was my experience of love, of God's love, and I learned that loving them was loving Him as well. So it was a very powerful experience for me.
I think along with what she said, we often think that love is showing emotion, but we don't realize that love is sacrifice as well. Like for me, in my experience, when I was in Poland, the families there, the little kids, they gave up their beds, their rooms, their personal space for us, and they didn't fully understand why, but they sacrificed that and sleeping on the couch, on the floor, so we could have somewhere to sleep in, so we could feel comfortable. So like, love is also sacrifice, because at the beginning they didn't understand it, but as they saw us and as they saw like what we were doing, along with like the people from their community and their churches, they got attached to us, and they were like, okay, they're doing the same, they're sacrificing things just like we're sacrificing things. So think love also comes in sacrifices.
For sure.
Okay, cool. I have had my experiences about love has been one that where I've had the opportunity to be able to speak with the priests, of the parishes, the different parishes I've been, and one of them did comment to me, you know what, it said, Perlita, actually, because you're here, we're having more people coming to church, more people living their faith. So, like, as humans, we cherish the company of each other, and we like being with each other. And so, as a pilgrim, we also find that you are helping others as well to live their faith. And that gave me joy. I said, oh, I thought that I just Sokosenian and I can't do things, but you find out, hey, I am helping people from Lublin to come to church, people from Betim to come to church, and they really want to be here because I'm here. So I see then that God loves you despite who you are, and He pours love on you despite who you are. So I said, that is my experience about love.
I think the universality of the church is manifested in a beautiful way as well. We see with all the different flags that people have. We have, see people from Africa. You see people from South America, from Europe, from everywhere across the planet, and they're all there to celebrate their faith, to celebrate their
China. I didn't.
China.
Well, for me, I always thought they were like into their culture, into like you see dragons and things, and then we're like, and then like the other day we were like pulling up in the airport, and then you see like this whole like Chinese and Taiwanese and Japanese and like whatever they're coming in, and you're like, wow, like you don't expect that to happen. Well, I didn't expect that to see that.
And one of the experiences we had in Krakow was that since there was so many people, and we have millions of people, thousands of people, they always change the transportation system, and they change it, and it got changed on us, and we didn't really notice. And when we were about to get home, like we couldn't get a transport to get home, and way there we got stuck at a bus station, and then all of a sudden a volunteer came in, and a Chinese volunteer came by, and he said, do you know about Uber? I said, well, we don't have Uber. He says, oh, you don't? I do. I said, wait, but I have a Google map here. Okay, where are you going? You know where you're going? Yes. Okay, I'll walk with you. And he walked us to our home, and we walked almost 20 miles that day because we couldn't get to a place. But he walked as a volunteer. He walked with us. It didn't matter the culture, the language. He spoke English, understood our situation, and got there with us and up to where we were going. He didn't leave us behind. And that's one of the good things about World Youth Days, is that once you're there, you could say, oh, so many people, I can get lost. A big city, I can get lost. Lost? Once you have Jesus, you're not lost. And once you're there, everybody's your friend, and they help you around. You get to go along the way. Of course, you have your bumps, but at the end of the day, you get where you need to go, and everybody's going to share the joy. Now, as we talk more about, we have been talking more about this World Youth Days, but we haven't really taken a look at pilgrim. We have said we don't go on a trip, we go on a pilgrimage, and it's God's pilgrimage. What is it being a pilgrim? What was it for you being a pilgrim for these World Youth Days?
I guess being a pilgrim is something that you do not know what to expect. As in, like, you're going to you're gonna travel with your friends or your family. It's like, oh, we're staying in this hotel and we're gonna go to these places and this is what we're gonna do. But going to World Youth Days, you're not going as a tourist. I guess that you don't know what to expect as you get there. You do not know where you're gonna be sleeping, or if you're gonna spend a whole day in a bus station. And it's just not, you don't know what to expect. And you have to have an open heart and an open mind to what you're going for. You're not truly you get to know places and you get to meet new people and all that, but what you're going for is that encounter of the faith and the hope that is present. So being a pilgrim on the way means that you might not have all the comforts that you wish you had. You might be sleeping on the floor. You might be really, really tired, but you'll have to push through. It's simply something that you're not.
Takes you out of your comfort zone.
Yeah, it takes you out of your comfort zone, and you never know what to expect. And yeah, you might have some some downs, but later on, you just might laugh about it, because in the moment it might have seemed frustrating, but it passed, it went by, and all of a sudden it was more of a joke than it was more of like something really bad. So I guess being a pilgrim has to do with the unexpected, pushing you out of your comfort zone and not knowing what to expect in a way.
Well, what I thought being a pilgrim was, prior to going to World Youth Day, I envisioned a lot of walking, little rest.
Okay.
However, I sort of didn't really fully understood what it was until I was there. It wasn't only the miles, it was also the journey with growing in your faith and with God. All these the catechism classes we would get, the different mass, the breakfasts in the courtyard, the praying. I remember receiving a little gift from one of the other pilgrims in South America, and she gave me a rosary to pray for people in her parish. So it's walking not only the physical miles, but it's a journey where you're growing or getting closer to God. So that was it was different for me. I remember almost at the end of it, there was this young man who walked to the front of the altar, and he said, "Pray for me." I asked all the youths to pray for me, because I discovered during this trip that I want to be a priest. He said, "So please don't forget to pray for me so I can become a priest one day." And you realize that it doesn't stop there, it continues. It continues not only for the individual, but also you praying for that individual and never forgetting that we're growing together despite the distance, or even if we don't remember our names, but we remember the intention of one another.
I remember getting a coin. I was like, I think it was an Argentine came to me and he said, could you help me pray? And he said, I have a coin here. And I was surprised because the coin, and he took out the coin, but then on the coin there was Pope Francis' face. And he said, we're going to pray for the Pope. We're going to get connected. So we connected. He held one side and I held the other side. I said, okay. And we prayed for the Pope. And then he said, now you go and connect with somebody else. And so the coin was passing, and he said, continue praying. And my coin went away because we passed it on. We prayed for the Pope because he needs a lot of prayers as well. Because as our church leader, he also needs a lot of prayers. So we prayed, and that was beautiful, making connections. You know, as a pilgrim, you make connections too. It's not just like, oh, I get to see this beautiful place, I'm going to take a picture. So we make connections. Facebook wasn't really working there because you didn't need Facebook.
Yeah.
What we needed, our presence there was what made it more important, you know. I don't know what other experiences you had, but they're beautiful. But you would like to share any experience you had? Sure, you had any? Yes,
I had many.
Which one to talk about? That's the problem.
Yeah. So we find then that you do grow into this spiritual, you know, you live the faith. You not just say, oh, this is what is to be a Catholic. You live it. That's what is important. You live it, and you help others to live the faith as well. We have been talking about days in the diocese, but we haven't really said much about it. What is really days in the diocese? How did you experience days in the diocese? You had it in Brazil, in Betim. And what activities did you do? And I think Charlene had it in Krakow, in Lublin, days in the diocese in Poland. So we could share those.
Yeah, it was a very eventful week. So there's a lot of activities we did. Wow.
We basically went to a parish.
Yes, to a parish.
To one parish, and they put us into different families. So you put 2 or 3 people with one family, with different families. So you became part of their families. Was one of the things that was really neat. And a lot of our, or at least some of our pilgrims still keep in communication with those families and those friendships that they made back then. So I'm sorry.
It started off at the parish. I mean, there was an activity where they welcomed us. I don't remember it well. I was very tired and sleepy, but
3 days traveling.
But I remember after a little nap, one of the parish members invited us to her home. And I think all of the girls, or most of the girls, went to her home, and we just slept like for an hour. But after that, we were good. It was, like Father said, we were assigned practically to different families in the parish with whom we stayed for an entire week, who made us a part of their home and treated us as a family member. It was a different experience being in the home and being at the parish. I remember being at the home where I stayed, or I was hosted. It was, wow, like sometimes not even my mom.
Cut that.
It's like the family I stayed with, they would prepare my snack for the day. I had breakfast, they prepared my snack, they put a bottle of water, and it was really good. And they would go with us to Mass every morning. And being there was a different experience. The priest at the parish as well, he was a very joyful person. Yes. So they were very creative with how they included us in these activities and how they encourage us to practice our faith. There's like, oh, do you like dancing? Well, we can dance and we can teach you samba, but it's gonna be Christian music. And it was as if we were having fun at a regular dance, and at the same time we were living our faith through these activities. We had different little trips we had with the different families and the different members. Some of us conquered some of our fears. Some of us decided to just stay away from some of them, like the pythons and what's not.
I remember the cultural dance you were talking about. That was so fun when they came out. They all got in their costumes, their local costumes, their big hats, and that was.
And actually, that was depicting
music.
one of the sacraments, which is marriage.
Yeah.
It is, how interesting how the sacrament was elaborated and how they celebrate and Latin marriage, and everybody takes part. It doesn't matter your age but you get into this dance. I really enjoyed it. As well, I think it was in Betim that what I found out as well is that language wasn't a barrier. Even though we didn't speak Portuguese, although we had some of our little downs, like I understood that from the on the second day, that when they say conforme, you say no. I said, but why? I said, because conforme means, are you hungry? I said, and we had this youth who said, the family came, I said, conforme? And he said, yes. And so they brought more food. More food. And he said, hey, what am I saying? And then he realized, oh, it means, are you hungry? And I'm like, no, I don't want any more. It's okay. I've been overfed. So like, it was fun, you know, to get into the new language and merging, because we had to merge, like speak part of our language and speak their language. It was like merging, and not only in our faith, but also with the language and the culture of the people.
I wanted to hear a little bit about Poland.
Poland, yes.
Movement. Well, for us, it was the first thing that captured me, like my attention, was when we got in the airport. There were two girls, and they were teenagers, and they were excited to meet us, but they had a Belizean flag. So we're like, how did they get that? Like, how did they get a, like, and then we started asking Miss Pearl, did you send them the flag? And Miss Pearl was like, no, I didn't send them the flag. So later on, we asked them how they got the flag, and they were like, they Googled our flag, and then they went to their studio and like printed a flag, a Belizean flag. So we were like, oh, that's how they got the flag.
Google.
But Googled
solves everything.
So then we like traveled back to their parish, and it was really late. It was like
10 o'clock at night, 11. We reached about 11:45.
It was late, and they were waiting for us. All the families, the kids, everyone, they were waiting for us. Like, they were sleepy, but as soon as they saw us, they were like not sleepy anymore. And they were waiting, and then they danced for us. They had like their little cultural things, and they had food for us. They had food. And then we went home, and for me, like the experience with my family was they were Catholics, and they're Catholics, and they go to church and like whatever, but for me and my other, like my roommate, we could say it like that, Ellen, that stayed with me, we kind of like in the mornings we would like give thanks for the food and like whatever, and we would pray, and then we had like our little songs, and we would like sing, and then we're like, no, but I like this song, and we would sing like from one hymn to another, and they would overhear us because they were sleeping on their
Trying to sleep.
From all the noise we make. They were trying to sleep in the morning, and then one day they came up to us and they said they admire how we give thanks, and we're like always happy, even though like they know it's not a lot they have to offer for us, but like that we're still grateful for what we have, and we give thanks. And they kind of like, after a while, they kind of like started like mingling with us and like started giving thanks and like with us, and they made sure they were up to like have breakfast and like give grace and give thanks and like whatever. So that was one of my highlights.
Maybe Marlene could tell us about getting off the bus in Brazil the first time.
Do you remember that experience?
It's an
We had
unforgettable
just
experience.
came in the airport. They went to get us in the bus, so we all jumped into the bus, but we were all so tired. We had been traveling for what, like 3 days
straight.
It was like non-stop traveling, and so we're like, everybody, I think it was like, and that it was not such a long ride, but it was plenty for us to like fall asleep. And as we get to the bus station and everything, it's like we're like, cool, just walking out. All of a sudden somebody screamed. I'm like, what's going on? And as we get out, it's like, whoo, they have like banners and like the noise makers and drums, and they're like dancing and balloons and everything, and we're just like, we were so how could you say that?
Like zombies.
Yeah, like zombies, and we were so surprised that it kind of woke us up, because we were like really sleeping, and it kind of woke us up, and it's like, we're like, where did they come from?
Started going through like 20 hugs before you
what are you trying to do? It's like, oh, picture. It's like, where do you go? It's like, it was really crazy. Besides that, it was very crazy, and it's something you didn't expect, that it was so beautiful. Like, their welcoming was so beautiful to us, as in like, oh wow, they were really waiting for us. And I mean, I think that made it really, really special for us. And as soon as they drove, they had their cars, and so we all jumped in the different cars. And as we got to the parishes, like they had a buffet laid out, like the tables were ready, people were waiting for us and everything. It's like as soon as we get, the bells rang, and we just jumped. And I think everybody was hungry. People needed food, and we fell in love with a drink. I think it was a soda. It was called Guarana, right? Oh my, that was like the favorite thing since the first day we tasted it in we got there like around lunchtime, right? Maybe a bit after lunch, but I don't know. That was something so beautiful. Like you didn't expect. In my part, I didn't expect to be welcomed like that, and being welcomed like that with banners and like all that noise and like balloons and like pictures and like they were really excited to see us. It was really beautiful to me to get to meet them like that.
Okay, so we're this grand event, World Youth Day. Actually, we've been talking about days in the diocese, which is 5 days prior to the World Youth Day week. Now, what were those experiences for you for World Youth Day week? Because then we leave the diocese and when we get to meet many other people. Because we get to meet a lot of people when we're in the diocese, but when you get to the real week, you end up being like in a sea and ocean of people, right? So what can you tell me about your experiences during this time?
It was different. When we got there, it felt like we were homesick for some reason.
Homesick from home or
No,
from
homesick
Betim?
from being at Betim. But it was like it was something new. I remember one of the girls some of the girls actually that were staying on the same floor as we were. They came to converse with us, and one of them from Venezuela said, "Oh, after everything winds down, maybe you girls can come over and maybe before we sleep, we can have a chat together and just spend some time together." It never happened. We were really tired by the end of the day.
Every day.
But we did see each other at different points in time, so it was a good experience. We rode the bus together, we sang hymns together, and it was good because then we had even people from in the bus singing with us who weren't a part of the groups. They were locals. So that was a good experience. Like I said, we had the different classes going on.
Bishops would give different catechesis classes to the different groups. That was neat.
And also we had mass. What I liked about it was even though by the end of the night you were so tired, when you woke up you felt so energized for the day. They would wake you
Looking
up.
for another day.
Yeah, it's like they had
Even though you were sleeping where?
on the floor.
In a classroom.
In a classroom on the floor, and we had to wake up really early to take baths, and it was like extra early to be done on time for breakfast because it was like we had an itinerary. Yes. So it was nice to be woken up with hymns. That was our alarm every morning. And well, it was a lot of walking. A lot of public transportation, a lot of congestion. It didn't seem like it at the moment.
You need to have good memory or else you forget your bus routes.
Yeah.
What number you're going
figure out.
from this one to transfer to another number, and you got to have a good memory. As a leader, I was the very first day we got into Rio. I was concerned. And I told Father, would you like to stay and wait for us here at the terminal at the Radio Varia? Or I gave him an option. Or could you go to San Agustin? That's our parish, what we're going to stay. And I could meet you at San Agustin. And he said, no, we'll wait for you. I said, fine, Father, we can do so. So I decided to take five youths to go with me because we need to pick up our things. And then I remember going and I said, they gave us the instructions. You go on the train You go by the bus to the main station, then you go by train to Nuestra Senora de I can't remember the parish, but they gave us the name of the parish and everything. Now the thing is that when we got to the main station, where is the train? We can't find it. And then right where around the corner there is this microbus, like the one I used in Melchor goes to Santa Elena, those microbuses. It was there. A la Señora de la Blanca, La Señora de la Blanca. I said, I think that's the parish we're going. I said, then Shamir looks at me, are you sure, miss? Yes, that's the parish we're going. And we go there. Okay, how much to go there? The 35 reales. And I'm like, $35. Because it's almost the same as Belizean money, right? The currency is equivalent. So I said, guys, let's go. We can't find the train and we must get there. And so we go way to the back. And we're going and we asked somebody who's sitting beside me, where is this place? He says, oh, you still have 20 minutes more to go. And I'm like, 20 minutes? And actually those ways were like, we call it pistas, and the van is going and it's going at high speed, and I said 20 minutes high speed. I didn't realize it was actually where I was going to go pick up those things was like coming from Benque to Belize City. And I'm like, I'm going that far. Can't believe that. We hadn't had any breakfast. And I'm like, we don't have breakfast.
We rode a bus all night the night before.
Yes, and we don't have any breakfast. And I'm like, and then this old man, by the way, his name was Denton. I still remember his name. He said, you're a pilgrim? I said, yes. Have you had anything to eat? He said, no. He says, I have something here. He went into his bag, took it out, and he said, share it with your boys. And he gave us breakfast in the van. And I'm like, this only happens when you go with the Lord. That's it. And so and Shamir was like, yes, we have food. And then when he came down, he said, he told the driver, you make sure you take these youths to where they're going. He gave orders. And I'm like, that's great. So eventually we got there. I put Neri I asked Neri to go for the things, and I said, Neri, and I actually prepped him up. I said, Neri, that's a long line, but you have an advantage. You speak 2 languages. You speak English and you speak Spanish. So when the line for English is shorter, you go to the English. And if the line for Spanish is shorter, you move to the Spanish line. And I'm like, and he's like, can I do that? Of course you can do that. You speak both languages. And okay, and so we were following, and at the time I said, okay, Shamir, Brenton, and Pedro, you go and pray. And I send those boys to go and pray. The chapel is open. So they went to pray, and I'm going to follow Neri, because Neri cannot be on the line on his own. So Neri came out far quicker than what we expected, no? Because he moved from one line, and then he skips to the other line, and he goes to the other line, and I'm like, okay, good. So when he came out, I was so surprised he was coming out with all these boxes, and said, what are we going to do with these boxes? I mean, he had about 4 boxes, and I said, we can't go with all these boxes. So we said, let us pack, and so we packed everybody's bag. You take 5 bags, and so there we go. We're coming with 5 bags each. But we're not going to take the vans anymore. We're going by train, because we found the train. Now we got in. When we got in, Shamir says, I think we better run, because this train is taking too long. It went so slowly. And by the time,
gone back with the van.
Yes, we should have.
So when Miss Perla asked me if she wanted us to wait, I was like, well, sure, we'll wait. An hour, 2 hours. How long could it be? 12 hours later, we're still like, where are they? We're sitting in the middle of a bus station, all our stuff piled high, but we had a great time.
Yeah,
We met a lot of people.
we kept rotating.
It was
We
so
kept
awesome to see
rotating.
people open up. So I think Pedro was one example. I don't think Pedro ever said a word to me in the whole 2 years I'd known him before, or whatever, 4 years. And all of a sudden, he sees cameras, and he's, I'll do an interview for Belize. And he goes and starts interviewing people and just talking and meeting all kinds of people. But we were there for a long time. I was like, at least, 12 hours? No,
Yes.
14 hours or something for you guys.
We were there since like
6, 7 in the morning.
And we
What
stayed up like
was
almost
more
at
impressive?
We
nighttime.
didn't finally get to the school till that night. It was
Yeah.
dark, plenty dark.
What was more impressive though was, and afterwards when I got there and Father was happy, he was, and he said, I can't believe, yes. And then
We don't have cell phones. We can't contact. We don't know where you are.
Yeah.
and he said, okay, we're going to the school. He said, yes, I'm going to ask for directions right now. And we went and said, oh, it was close by the bus stop. And we got there, but now we went for another 2 hours ride.
Another 2 hours to the.
And then I didn't understand why. And they said, and then somebody explained to me, it's because we go up and down and we go going up and up and up the mountains. And then I realized that, oh, we're close to where the statue of the Holy Redeemer was.
Yeah, but that's something that I think helped actually bring the group together, and that's something you mentioned, sacrifice.
The bonding.
That maybe you guys could talk a little bit more about that, but I know you can. I remember a few instances where you're struggling. It's
Yes.
hard, but you're struggling as a group. You're not alone, and I really felt like even though we went through those struggles and those difficulties, that those things helped the group to kind of become, like you said, by the time we were, not even, like the second day, we felt like we were a family, like we knew each other from the beginning. We did, but not until we went on the trip did we really bond after the first or second day. But I think even the trip, the 3-day trip and all those things really helped to bond us. And you don't look forward to those sacrifices and sort of that cross or the suffering, but you see the fruit of it. And maybe you guys could comment a little bit on that.
I remember the opening mass we had for the week for leading to World Youth Day. There was so many youths and so many people that by the time the mass had ended and we were all trying to get some means of transportation to get back to the school, there was this huge congestion in the streets, and they were all people, and we are all like pushing against each other, and we feel that others are taking us with their chains because we made chains amongst each other. We hooked on each other's arms, And I remember one of the boys that was with us, Jose. He's younger than me. And I remember him being, I'll protect you girls. He was like, I'll make sure no one goes with you. And when anyone was coming near us trying to break our chain, he would go in front of them and he would spread his arms. So that was a different experience amongst us as a group. We went, yes, as what we thought were friends, We know each other, we've socialized for probably the past few months or past year or two in some of our cases. But we never really saw the depth of the bond we could have shared like we did there. And it was the same leading up to the Pope's arrival. I remember going from early because we wanted to see the Pope and we wanted to be first in line. And while waiting, it was hours and hours of waiting. And there were some Brazilian women beside us. And they had some biscuits and they said, do you guys want some? And they shared with the entire group. And then we were like, oh, we have things from our backpacks we can share with you as well, And it wasn't such a long wait after all, We made friends, we met people from all over the world, we were taking pictures, we were just telling them about our different experiences at the parishes we stayed. And they were similar, they were like, I thought it was only us. They're like, by the time the mass was done, we were all crying as well. So it was different. It was a different manifestation of God's love as well amongst all the youths.
And with all the sacrifices.
All the sacrifices. It was hours of little rest. By that sleep, sitting down, we really walked a lot. We probably didn't even stop to hydrate as much as we should have. but we were pushing, and when one was getting tired, we were like just motivating each other. I remember walking amongst many, and then I started feeling my feet like they were hurting, and Miss Perla was like, if you can't go anymore, a group of us will stay with you. We're gonna wait a few minutes. And she like rubbed my feet, and she's like, are you ready to continue? And we were like, yes, let's go. It was like no one was staying behind. And by the time we got to the beach, someone had secured a piece of land for us and had built a wall around it. And so it was a good experience. It was
Even
loving.
staying by the beach, close to the water. And I remember as we got there, he says, but wait a minute, we're going to be cut by the waves. And somebody's idea was, let's build a trench. And everybody, and with what? Hands. And they built a trench just to protect the group while they were sleeping. And everybody, they got quick, and but that paid off. Because in the morning, we saw the sunrise.
Yeah.
It was a beautiful
nice
sunrise. There was this sacrifice, but
The payoff was big.
yes, it was big.
What was the hardest part in Poland?
In Poland, the actual week was actually getting where the event was gonna happen, because I remember there was like a lot of people and the trains were packed and we couldn't get in. So even though you said we separated in groups, they were willing to stay back because you couldn't make it. For me, it was me and Ashley. We the trains were packed and she managed to get in the train. How? I don't know. And then she's like, I'll pull you guys. And then she kept opening the door and she's like, I'm not going out without them. And she managed to get in, we got in, and then I think Ellen got in in another door from the train. And we were all separated, but we knew we were in the train because Miss Pearl was like, she's over there. And then she's like, she's over there on the next side. So when we got down, we were looking out if I could see them or they could see me, and then we managed to be the three of us, and then we were walking and we saw water, and then we were we're gonna take water for them when they come, and then we're carrying this pack of water, and then when we get there they have people handing out waters, and we're and you were carrying
I guess it's hard for people to imagine how many people are at these events. So you talk about getting in the trains are just packed, and you can't fit one more person, and yet you fit 5 more people, and people are pushing and pulling. Yeah. And yet it's so joyful. I remember once in Rome, the same thing. You couldn't fit in the train, and they pushed you in, and then as soon as the doors closed, somebody took a guitar over their head, and they start playing the guitar over their head. People have the whole place and start singing. So, what was the hardest for you, Mariani?
I think everybody was looking after me. It was kind of where are you? We can't see you in the crowd. So, I guess keeping up with the group, maybe I was one of the youngest there. And so I had to keep up with all of them. I had to keep up with their pace. I had to keep up with not getting lost.
Because you were only what, 15?
I was 15.
15.
Something I didn't know I was gonna get to do 15. I thought I'd never go on a plane until I was probably 30 years old. But I got on a plane and I was 15. I guess maybe keeping up with the whole walk, that we didn't have much rest. That was something I was keeping up with, because maybe I didn't have that close experience at the very beginning as I would have wanted to, because I was too busy thinking on how tired I was and how this is not really working out. And later on, I figured out that I'm doing it wrong. It's sacrifices, but it doesn't matter because you're still with your group, you're still pushing through, and the experience at the very end is just very beautiful. So yeah, I bet that we all had our difficulties, but we all made it through. And like I said, at the very end, sometimes it was we would joke around about whatever happened, how people couldn't get in the line, or how we had to we had to walk, and we had to walk under the rain and all of that. It was so many sacrifices that you had to do, but the very end is just something joyful. It doesn't really matter how it happened because you had other people around you helping you get through it, and we had our funny moments, but it was good.
I've had some really good challenges and sacrifices. For one, since I was very, very young, I am the only girl in my family, so I am not into sharing much of space, you know? My own bed, my own room. So being at home, it has been that, oh, you have everything there and everything's set for you. But going to World Youth Days has placed some challenges, and like how Mindy said, you have overcome some fears. I am not much of a person who will be in crowded areas, but I've been able to manage it, you know. And as a leader, making sure everybody gets to where we're going has been a challenge, because I'll have to you too, make sure you don't leave her behind, even though you know you want to get there and you get so emotional and you get caught up in all this excitement, like what happened to our dear Deborah. We got her lost, and then I mean she goes, and it's because all this emotion and, you know, Holy Spirit in her. Can't believe she ran 2 miles straight.
I know.
And I said, what? She ran? He said, yes. And then we find out that we get to misunderstand some certain things. Like, they said first screen, and that's where things happen at the first screen, and she was there. And I'm like, okay, Deborah, yes, you're right. That's the first screen, and that's where it happens.
Depends on where you count from, which screen you count.
Yes, yeah.
Listen, we have a couple minutes left, and I want to touch on the last night, which is the night before the final mass with the Pope. That usually is a pretty special time during World Youth Day. Could you guys talk a little bit about that?
That night was, wow. How to accurately describe that night? It's an unearthly experience, I would say. I remember being at the beach, and it was adoration, and the Pope was at the altar, but it was like at that moment, yes, you know, we were building up to welcoming him, but at that moment it was like he was just another one of us, you know, and
a pilgrim with us.
Yes, and I remember it being so quiet. It was very silent.
How many people were there?
Wow, I
Said 2 million.
Yeah, 3 million.
2 or 3 million.
Yeah.
So be quiet with 2 or 3 million
Youths.
people. Youths, yes.
And all I could hear was the waves, yeah, coming to shore. And I remember there was this one point in time, I think it was Matt Mayer, something his name is. Mm-hmm. He started singing acoustic with his guitar, and it was like, at that moment, I just couldn't really understand what was happening, but I just felt God's presence, and I felt Him speaking to me. Wow. I just remember holding in my tears and just my knees. I was kneeling straight, and my knees, they just went, down, and it takes you to another place with God, and you understand that it's not only it is His love, and it's all this sacrifice, and it's all this faith building, and it's everything. But for many years, my parents have been very devoted to baby Jesus, because to them I'm their miracle child. So growing up, every birthday was giving thanks to Him for me being alive. And that day, I understood what the gratitude my parents felt. I grew up thinking, another birthday, another prayer, It's like, it's not even for me, it's thanking Jesus. But I was small, I was too young to understand that. And my parents would always say, you need to be thankful to God for your life, because He could have taken it away, but He gave you the opportunity to live. And that day I felt like everything just made sense. You know, like I can't explain fully what it was I felt, but I felt like God made me understand what my parents felt, and He made me feel the gratitude for being alive.
What about Poland?
Poland, I think, even though we were tired because we were waiting, like everybody was excited to see the Pope, so we didn't even sleep, we didn't even rest, and there you were like mingling with other people and like singing and dancing. It was just like you just didn't want to stop praying and singing all the hymns that they were singing, even though you didn't know the words. You saw the lyrics, you went along with it, and it was unreal. It was amazing. I don't know how to explain that.
And then the final mass, Mariana, what was that like?
It was just beautiful. I mean, the amount of people that was there, and at moments when we would chant for the Pope, we would all do it together, and like we created waves with the people, with ourselves, and then everybody was so focused on what was going on in there. Like nobody had worries. We were at the beach, and it's just the wind, the waves, the sun high up, and everybody's just there, looking at that, who is our guidance here on earth, which is the Pope, and just a mass that you don't get to celebrate with the Pope like every other day in your life. And the presence that you feel, it's unexplainable. It's not something you can just put into words. You don't know how to put it into words. It's like you might be able to try to put it into words, but you can never really explain to a person how it felt. That quietness, no worries, all the youths, like all these problems that are in the world or challenges out there in the world, but you're right there. You're just in mass, all these youths praying for something better, that they still have hope. And it's just something beautiful to see how you all just sharing the same faith, the same hope. I think it was just beautiful, and something that you cannot actually put into words until you experience it.
Your final words?
Yes. I'm just going to say something concerning Madrid, because I attended Madrid, and the final events, the vigil. I remember that it was a very hot day. Firefighters were spraying water so that we could get cooled down, because it was so hot. There was no shade. And as usual, Father Marcos, teasing us, los beliceños, they don't like to be wet because they're calorosos, so they're not going to, they don't want to get wet. So he said, Father, that's okay, we don't need get wet. So, but then I remember just raising my eyes to the sky, and I saw these clouds. No, and they were light white clouds, puffy clouds. And I said, it's gonna rain. And everybody looked at me and says, you don't say that. You don't say that. It's gonna rain. And they looked up and they said, oh, they're very light clouds. I mean, those are not rain clouds. And well, it just went away like that. But then the Pope came in, and that's Pope Benedict. He came into Cuatro Vientos, and actually, like, if I felt like as he came in, like something, there was this feeling and this like electricity coming in, and everybody like running. There comes, viene el Papa, and everybody is shouting. And he came in, and then he went way up to the altar, and the time came in to have the exposition, and the Blessed Sacrament was there. But before that, there was lightning, thunder, and everybody like, it's going to rain, and we're like, no, can't be. And so actually it did pour, and we had a freak storm, and we couldn't go ahead with the vigil, and the mics were on, and I remember that the priest who was accompanying, or the cardinal who was accompanying Pope Benedict, he was saying that we'll have to wait. And then we hear Pope Benedict's voices, no, the young people are here. And they're here, and we are going to pray. We are going to praise God. And so he came out and he said, we are going to pray. As soon as we finish, the storm will end. Very short prayer, and so it was. It ended right there. And said, who commands the storms? And that was a wonderful experience for us, because we said, hey, whoever was doubting had no doubts. Okay, and we had our vigil, and just like at Rio, at Copacabana, 3 million people were there, and plus those left outside, because Cuatro Vientos had to be closed because they couldn't fit any more. No more could have fitted in there. So what happened was that at the time when our Lord, Blessed Sacrament, came up, complete silence. I never get that silence with 12 people when we have a youth meeting. Complete silence. Everybody on their knees. And we said, yes, we are here. We give thanks. And the experience is wonderful, because I have many people from different parts of the world living the faith with me. And that is awesome. And that is what makes me go ahead and help again. Okay, let's help organize again. Let's take more youths to have these experiences, because this is what we want everybody to experience: the love, the joy that God can bring into your life.
Awesome. I want to thank you all for coming all the way to Belize City to talk about your experiences and share your joy of World Youth Day. We also want to invite the youth of Belize. I have some exciting news. Our own Bishop Lawrence has decided to attend World Youth Day in 2019. So it'll be exciting to have our own bishop there this time in Panama. So go to your pastor, go to your youth leaders in your own parishes, and see if there's maybe a group organizing to go to Panama 2019. It's in January. I think it's the second. What are the dates?
It's 21st to the 27th.
21st to the 27th. If you need information, or if your pastor needs more information, he can contact Ms. Perla at, what's your number?
664 4348.
4348. And we hope to see you in Panama.
See you in Panama. Yes.
Where we're going, these dreams we're holding. Oh, and now we know it. All the world is ours to take. You and me will find a way. Seems the daylight knows this is our time. All the world is ours to take. You and me will find a way. Oh, the wonder that awaits. Here we are, forever stars. Through it all, the world we face. You and me will find a way. Oh, the wonder that awaits. Here we are, forever stars today. Forever stars.